We want to warn you, some of the video in our next story might be hard to watch. You're about to hear a raw, candid discussion with a Virginia mom who lives in fear of her own child. Glynette Strother's 15-year-old daughter battles a mental illness that can lead to extremely violent episodes that come without warning. Special Assignment Unit reporter Andrea McCarran takes a look at this mental health crisis and who's to blame.
I met Glynette Strother through Facebook. She responded when I asked if anyone in our area lived with a family member suffering from a mental illness so severe it led to violence. She was willing to share her daily struggle to get her daughter the help she desperately needs. What is it like living in fear of your own child?
It's tough.
Come here. Can you come out from under that before you hurt yourself? Look, you've got your pants all stained up now and messed up.
When you see a mass shooting or some type of horrific casualty, what's going through your mind?
That this could be her.
Do you ever worry that you could become so violent you could kill somebody? She has no memory of the violent episodes that have sent her to 6 psychiatric units in the last 3 years. Have you found doctors and hospitals skeptical when you tell them that your daughter transforms into a dog?
Absolutely.
Brianna, leg.
So Glynette captured cell phone video of an episode last year outside her daughter's Fairfax County school. Brianna balls up her hands, growls, barks, and only responds to officers giving the same commands that you would give a dog.
Brianna, stay. Brianna,
It took 6 police officers to subdue her.
No bites.
No bite.
My brother got a chance to see the video, and my brother broke down. He was just like, I thought she was faking it this whole time until I saw this video. To the bus stop.
When we recently headed to the bus stop with Glynette to meet Brianna after school,
Yep, that's her bus.
we didn't know what to expect.
Hi, babe.
But it wasn't this.
I did really good today.
A confident, bubbly teenager who plays on a soccer team and loves dogs. What has been the most frustrating part of this journey?
The revolving door of psychiatric units. You go in, they put a Band-Aid on it, and they send you home. You go in, they put another Band-Aid on it, they send you home. But they never give you true answers.
Psychiatric beds for adolescents are hard to come by. Brianna has waited as long as 28 hours. The shortest wait, 7 hours. And that's only because her parents had a judge's order to detain her.
Meanwhile, you have a child in crisis who either is attempting suicide or saying they're going to kill themselves, or who is so violent that she's handcuffed to a hospital bed.
You've seen your own child handcuffed to a hospital bed?
December 2016. Starting with this packet, we went and had 4 hospital stays in a 6-month period.
Glynette has kept meticulous records of each of Brianna's hospital stays.
I don't know how bad in the future this is going to get. We've seen it get really bad.
No one knows what triggers Brianna's transformation into an aggressive dog,
Like a devil that just came out of nowhere and wants to kill everyone.
or how to stop it.
I think it's the mental illness, and when I see that, I just sit back and I think, that could be Brianna.
In the course of reporting this story, we discovered that Stanford University has a center devoted to a rare mental illness called PANS. It stands for Pediatric Acute Onset Neuropsychiatric Syndrome. Some of its symptoms, including dog-like behavior, mirror what happens to Brianna.
It's very scary because at any moment I could snap and not even know that I did it.
The clinic has evaluated 300 children since it opened in 2012. Brianna's mom has now reached out to Stanford.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Here's a sobering statistic. The state of Virginia is ranked 45th in the nation, close to the bottom when it comes to its high prevalence of mental illness among adolescents and its low availability of proper care. Who should we hold accountable? Is it the mental health agencies? Is it the insurance companies? Is it legislators? Is it the general community? Who's to blame for this crisis?
And I would say yes.
Licensed clinical social worker George Young is on the front lines of the crisis in Northern Virginia. How complicated a question is the one I just asked you?
Yeah, scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 12.
Why is it so difficult to find a psychiatric bed for a child or an adolescent?
Our system is incredibly fragmented. If I have a crisis, I've got to call, every hospital and say, do you have a bed? And answer the same 20 minutes worth of questions, and then that doesn't fit, now I have to call this place, and then I have to call this place.
I'm calling about Virginia's rankings in terms of mental health care for youth. Whether this is an issue that requires legislation, does it come down to money? If you could help us get to the bottom of it, I sure would appreciate it. So we reached out to government agencies, mental health professionals, legislators, nonprofits, and insurance companies. Thanks. Bye. Andrea McCarron. The consensus? It all comes down to funding and power. Young believes the solution begins with local, state, and federal lawmakers.
The politicians respond to our calls, but if we don't call, then they don't respond, and they'll respond to who does. Our society does not value mental health, those individuals struggling with that, and that is provable by the amount of money that is put into addressing it. All of us as a community need to be held accountable.
Now, Andrea mentioned in her report that the state of Virginia ranks 45th in the nation for its care of adolescents living with mental illness. Maryland ranks 23rd, and D.C. fares the best in our area, coming in 8th. We've posted the entire list on our WUSA 9 mobile app and website, along with resources on getting help for a loved one with mental illness.
So top